This is a picture of me 10 years ago. For the first time in my life, I was starting to gain weight consistently. I felt so uncomfortable in my body. And worst of all, I was so unconfident. I hated how I looked in clothes. I hated having my photo taken. And I knew something needed to change, but I just really didn't know how to start. 10 years later, boom, now I have my absolute dream body. I'm lean, toned, fit, and strong every single day year round, and I do this while maintaining a very fun, realistic lifestyle where I go on several trips per year, still have plenty of meals and drinks out with friends, and really just get to love the workouts and food that I eat. And not only have I been able to change my body, but I've also helped over 500 women melt fat, build sexy muscle tone, and become more confident, hotter, and fitter than they've ever been before using the same methods. So after a decade on my fitness journey, getting my dream results and helping so many other women get their dream results, I have learned a ton about what does work and what doesn't work when it comes to getting a lean, fit, strong body and maintaining it for good. So listen up, I'm gonna break down the top 5 things that you need to change if you want to get lean, toned, fit, strong, and sexy for good. So I'm gonna break it down. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that needs to change, the number one mistake, is thinking that just eating clean and just having a protein or calorie goal is going to transform your body. Unfortunately, this is not enough. You don't only need to eat a very specific amount of calories or a very specific amount of protein. You need to focus on all the 3 macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, as well as fiber and just the actual quality of food in order to get an insane transformation. And there's not just one set amount of food that you're supposed to eat forever and ever that is going to transform your body. You need to know when and how to change the amounts you eat. And in order to get a really drastic, incredible transformation, you're going to need to change the amount you eat several times. Just within 1 year, it could be as much as 15 to 30 macro changes. And that's often what I do with my clients to get results like this. Now, the biggest thing that I see is that women are actually very much under eating. And I know that this is such a crazy thing to wrap your head around because you think that if you just want to be lean, then you should just not eat that much, or you should keep it really clean and kind of keep it minimal. But this is actually the exact thing that is keeping you stuck. It's the exact reason that you struggle feeling kind of skinny fat and shapeless instead of being really toned, defined, and snatched the way you want to be. The biggest thing that I see women under eating is actually carbs. A lot of the time, women who are kind of in the know, they're already working out, they're trying to get fit, they usually already know they need to eat enough protein, and a lot of the time they actually are eating enough protein. Now, obviously a lot of people also aren't eating enough protein, so some of the time that might be the case, but usually what I see, the vast majority of clients that I bring into my program actually usually are at a good spot with their protein, but the one that they're severely neglecting is carbs. They're usually not eating anywhere close to enough carbs to actually get that fit, sexy, toned body. Now, I know that this might be a bit of a mind F because obviously we've grown up in this kind of Atkins keto era where carbs have been really demonized. But let me remind you that usually that kind of big industry talk around fitness is weight loss. And you, my friend, do not want to just lose weight. You want to get a sexy toned body. And what that means is you actually want to gain quite a lot of muscle. The tone, the definition that you're looking for, the shape, that sexy feminine hourglass body, that is going to come from a woman gaining a significant amount of muscle. And no, it's not gonna make you look bulky or manly. It's going to give you that exact feminine sexiness that you're looking for. It's gonna take you from skinny fat to snatched and toned. Okay, and so here's the problem. If you want to have that muscle to actually look toned, you really need to make sure that you are eating plenty of carbs to achieve this. Why is that? Because in order to gain muscle, you need to, number 1, train your body really hard. You need to push it with the weight, bring a lot of effort and intensity to the lifts that you do in the gym. And if you are not eating enough, especially carbs, you simply will not have the energy to push yourself as hard as you need to, because carbs is your body's primary source of fuel for training. Your body's going to convert it into glycogen, and it's going to pull on it as a fast-acting energy source to power you through your training sessions. The other thing it's going to do for you is it's going to allow you to recover from the hard training that you do, because in order to build muscle, you really need to give your muscles a reason to grow. You really need to push them hard in the gym, and I'm gonna cover this pretty soon in the video about what this actually looks like. So if you are under fueling, you're not only not gonna really be able to achieve that much in the gym, and secondly, you're not gonna be able to recover very well from it. You're just gonna feel exhausted and fatigued and sore and not really getting anywhere. And then lastly, carbs is one of the key building blocks for building muscle. Yes, you do also need protein to build muscle, and pretty much everybody knows that at this point, but it's not just protein that's going to build the muscle. Really, once you have enough protein in your diet, there's no reason to eat more. And usually somewhere in the 120 to 150 grams of protein per day is plenty for a woman to gain muscle. So since there's no need to overeat on your protein, carbs is the one that you're going to gradually increase over time, as it's going to be the macro that makes sense to be increasing to give you more resources to build muscle with and to train harder to once again build that muscle, get that shape and tone. And by the way, this is also going to help you be lean, because the more muscle you get, the faster your metabolism is, the better your body works, which allows you to eat more food and be able to burn more calories 24/7 without doing anything. Now, if you don't believe me, I'm going to illustrate this with a couple of examples. This was me back in the day, about midway through my fitness journey, and obviously I had lost some weight from the starting point of my journey, but for how hard I was working out 5-6 days a week in the gym, pushing it really hard, and how diligent I was with hitting my protein, hitting my macros, I really thought that I should be looking way more toned, way more shapely and defined than I was. And it wasn't until I increased my carbs, I learned how to do this correctly, that I finally got the really toned, really defined body I always wanted, especially in my lower body, legs and glutes. And like I said, a huge percentage of clients that come to me are usually in the starting point. They're coming in already working out, already usually eating clean and getting enough protein, but they're usually way under eating their carbs, and then that's why they're skinny fat instead of toned. That's exactly like what happened with my client Kaylin. When she first came to me, she was exercising 6 days a week, and she was eating 130, 140 grams of protein a day, but she was only having 100 grams of carbs a day. So this was like 1,400 calories. It was hardly any food, and she didn't understand why she didn't look more toned. So what we did was we brought those carbs up, and we also focused on better quality weightlifting, which again, I'm gonna break down what that looks like. And we ended up almost quadrupling her carbs, getting close to 400 grams of carbs a day. And that is when she got this insane transformation. She grew her glutes, got insanely defined legs, and also got a small defined waist. And by the way, she weighs exactly the same in this before and after, literally the exact same weight, totally different body. And that's because fat came off while muscle came on. And that's what you actually care about. Okay, now there is a method to this. You don't just like start stuffing your face randomly with more carbs. Obviously, if you do that, that's not gonna go over very well. The way that you do this correctly is with a process called reverse dieting. So this is where you gradually bring your food up bit by bit, primarily focusing on bringing up your carbs. And of course, you're pairing this with a good quality weightlifting plan so that you're actually building some muscle and putting those carbs to good use. Now, I'm not gonna break down exactly all the ins and outs of how to do a reverse diet in this video, but I did make a very thorough one very recently, so I will link it here, and I'll also link it in the description for you to check out. Okay, the second thing that needs to change is you need to stop just exercising so much and really learn how to lift weight properly. Actually train your body hard. I cannot tell you how much this is overlooked by women. They think that just because they're going to the gym, just because they're picking up the weights, just because they're going through the motions and exercising consistently, that that alone is going to magically transform their body. But that's also why so many women are exercising, lifting weights consistently, and they're frustrated that they don't actually really look like they work out. And this is because there is a big difference between just kind of exercising and doing whatever to randomly burn calories and get your heart rate up versus training. Training is when you very specifically know exactly what you're doing in the gym. You're progressing from what you were doing previously. You actually write down what you do. You get better and better over time. You lift heavier. You do better quality form, better range of motion. You push your intensity and your effort. And all of those things add up to you really building muscle and getting that snatched, tone defined body that you always wanted, which is exactly what I did in my transformation and what I have done with so many other women. Like for example, example, take my client Casey here. When she first came to me, she was used to just, always dieting, and she was exercising a ton. She was literally running every single day. She was doing HIIT videos, but obviously she was overweight. She was not happy in her body, and boom, we got her an insane transformation. Not only did she lose 20 pounds, but she got so toned and so strong and fit. Now, this would not have been possible if she did not learn how to train properly. We actually got her exercising way less, but instead learning how to do it correctly, how to actually direct her effort in the right way so that she was going to get so much more ROI out of the effort and time that she was putting in. And that is why she got this insane transformation. Okay, so when I say train better, train smarter, train harder, what exactly do I mean? I'm gonna cover 5 different points of what it looks like to lift weights smartly so that you're gonna actually see the results that you want. Number 1 is simply lift heavier weight. Now, obviously this does depend on the exercise. Not every single exercise you're gonna be able to lift a ton of weight for, but overall, I just see women way underestimating their ability with weights in the gym. And I also wanna make a point here that it is definitely in your best interest to actually go to a real gym so that you can have access to all of the weight, all of the different equipment. It's just gonna make a huge difference in your ability to build muscle and really get that tone look. Now, if you must work out from home, I understand maybe you have like young kids or you live really far away or something like that, you have to get yourself adequate equipment, okay? You cannot get around this. Just having 5, 10, 20 pound dumbbells is really not going to cut it, unfortunately. That is okay for you in the very, very beginning of your journey, but you're gonna max that out so quickly. You are not gonna be able to put that much resistance on your muscles and really challenge them to grow when you don't have very heavy weights to work with. So I have several clients that work out from home, and we just help them build up a little bit of a home gym. At the absolute bare minimum, you need to get those adjustable dumbbells that go up to minimum 50 pounds, but there are some that go up to even like 80 or 100 pounds, which would be really ideal if you could get that. And even better if you can get a barbell, plates, a bench, a rack, all these kinds of things. Now, I know it's kind of like, oh my God, that's a lot, that's so many things to buy, but we're talking about investing into your body for life here, getting a sexy, hot, fit body that you feel strong, confident, and healthy in, that's gonna help you age super well, protect you from disease. So you really need to change your perspective if you feel hesitant around spending money on these things, because you need to invest in yourself, and you're just simply not going to get very good results if you don't have good equipment. You'd be surprised how much you can actually do. Like here, for example, you can see in a video I was doing split squats, and I'm really pushing myself with the weight here, but it's not just the weight. I'm also focusing on range of motion, slow, controlled, quality reps, all of those things. And you can see in my face how much this is like a struggle, how much I'm challenging myself here, because I'm really actually pushing myself and trying to get those good results. Now, the second thing to focus on is tempo. A lot of the time, maybe you actually are lifting a good amount of weight, but you're just kind of rushing your reps. You're not really slowing down, really controlling the weight that you're lifting and focusing on targeting the muscle you want to hit. So slow down, especially something I've recently started to incorporate with my new fitness coach is slowing down the eccentric. So the lowering portion of the exercise, I count 1, 2, 3. And let me tell you, you don't necessarily need to have such a heavy weight if you are slowly lifting and lowering that weight, because it's going to be much harder to do that than if you were quickly moving through the range of motion with a heavier weight. So again, you can see example here with these hip thrusts that I was doing recently. You can see how slow, how controlled, good full range of motion I'm doing. And I wasn't even using that much weight. I've hip thrusted way heavier than this, but honestly, this was so challenging. I was like feeling my glutes ignite so much from this exercise. Now, the third thing is to actually keep track of your workouts and actually progress with them. I cannot tell you how inefficient it is that you don't write down what you're doing, that you have no idea how much weight you lifted last time, or that you're always lifting the exact same amount of weight. You need to give your body a reason to grow. You are simply not going to get that sexy toned hourglass shape if you're just kind of always going through the motions, always doing the same thing over and over again. And honestly, don't overcomplicate this. Right now, I'm just writing notes in my phone. I literally just write the exercises, the reps, the sets, the weight that I did, and I make little notes. Maybe it's like, this one actually felt like it was a little too heavy, my form started to break down, or I'll say, actually that felt a little too easy. Next time I'm gonna make sure that I go heavier. Little notes like this add up and make a difference. The fourth thing is to push yourself yourself to failure, or at least really close to failure, okay? Because again, this is just where women are really holding back. They think just getting a little bit of a burn on the muscle, lifting heavy enough weights is enough. And that's the exact reason that you don't really look any different, even though you've been working out for well over a year. You need to really push yourself. Give your body everything you got. You don't have to do so much, but within the sets, the reps that you're doing, make them count. Good quality, always over time, trying to increase the weight, increase the reps from what you were doing previously, and go all the way until you literally cannot do anymore, or at least very, very close to that. Okay, and then the fifth thing within the second point about training overall is simply do less, but do it better. A lot of the time, women are working out like 5, 6, 7 days a week, and they don't even really look like they work out. And then when they start working with me, I get them down to just 3 or 4 sessions a week, and they have this huge transformation. That's because you don't need to do so much. It's really about quality over quantity. So you just need a handful of exercises, maybe 5, 6, 7 exercises that are some of the best exercises you can do, targeting the muscles you want to work on. And then again, keeping track, lifting heavier weight, pushing yourself to failure, controlling the weight that you lift, good quality tempo, good quality range of motion. And you can be in and out of the gym in 60 to maybe maximum 90 minutes. And you just do that 3 or 4 times a week, and boom, you're going to have an insane transformation. And this is why this is such a big part of my coaching, by the way, is I have my clients send me exercise form videos, like several exercise form videos throughout the week, because I want to see how they're lifting. I give them really detailed feedback of the weights they're using, the range of motion they're doing, their form, the tempo, their intensity, their effort. All these things I just talked about in this video, I'm reviewing actively with my clients, and that's why they end up getting an insane transformation like this. So if you're interested in having that one-to-one custom guidance, you don't have to guess and figure this out on your own, click on the link in the description, fill out an application. I'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit for one-to-one coaching. Okay, the third thing is to only do a cut after you have done an initial reverse diet, and to not cut too often. Because I just want to remind you that that toned body that you want to have means you are building a muscular body. And if that's the case, that means you need to spend time not in a deficit. We really need to get that muscle on your body. And you can also get lean and toned pretty well just with a reverse diet and good training. So you don't need to always be in a calorie deficit. Now, you will probably have to do one at a point to lose a significant amount of weight and to really trim down and show all that sexy muscle underneath. But just remember that if you haven't built anything, you have nothing to show underneath, which is why maybe you lose weight, but you still just feel kind of soft and flabby instead of toned and defined. So an example of this is like with my client Karen. She first came to me feeling definitely kind of big, feeling a bit jiggly. And what most people would do would just be immediately slash their calories right away. But what we did instead was we focused a little bit on reverse dieting, just a little bit, just for about 1 month, because her calories actually were already at about 2,000 a day, which was a lot of food, especially because she's 4'11". But we still got her macros, got her training consistent and in a good place. And even with that little bit, she already started to drop some weight and look better. Then we went into a cut. We only had to go between 1,700 to 1,800 calories, focused just on 3 days a week of lifting, sending in form videos for review. And over the course of 4 months, she lost 20 pounds. And now what we're doing is reverse dieting out of her cut once again. And actually, she's not only maintaining the weight that she lost in her cut, she's even hitting new lows. She's actually lost even more weight now that we have increased her calories. And that's because when you reverse out of the deficit, what's happening is you're once again speeding up your bodily functions, speeding up your metabolism. So this is actually normal that not only can you maintain the weight you lost, you can actually start to see even better progress after giving yourself just a little bit of time in a deficit before coming back to a reverse diet. If you want to learn more about what it looks like to go through a proper cut from start to finish, I made a video on that last, so I'll link it here and again in the description. All right, fam, and then these last points is more about your overall health, but this does add up to better body composition. So the next step is the quality of your food and hydration matter. A lot of the time when you're feeling kind of puffy, you're feeling a bit bigger, a little bit jiggly or whatnot, it's not just body fat. I mean, yes, some of it is, but a lot of the time it can be from inflammation and the fact that your body is retaining water. It's not able to detox properly. So this is where the quality of the food you eat matters. And yes, we want to go by macros. We want to know, okay, this specific amount of protein, fats, and carbs, but we don't want to get so caught up in than that we start to not pay attention to the quality of the food that we eat. So eating plenty of plants, eating good quality clean protein, overall trying to eat quite clean. I'm not saying that you can't ever have something that's processed or having like a chocolate bar or something, that's fine, but you want to make sure that most of the time you're honestly eating things that are like fruits, vegetables, eggs, lean meats, grains like oats, rice, quinoa, potatoes, beans, clean oils like olive oil, coconut oil. Those types of things should make up the majority of your diet. So you also want to have a fiber intake, somewhere between 25 to 30 grams a day. And trust me, if you're eating that much fiber, your bowel movements are going to be way better, and you're going to notice yourself feeling leaner, feeling a better detox to your system, and that's going to make you look and feel much better. Now with your water intake, you should be having anywhere from 3.5 to 4 liters a day, or 120 to 150 ounces a day. Now I know that sounds like a lot, but trust me, again, a lot of the time you're puffy just because you're inflamed, you're retaining water. So good quality hydration, good quality food with a focus on fiber intake is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And again, this is where you don't necessarily need to cut to already start to see a lot of transformations happen to your body and look more lean and toned. Okay guys, and then the fifth and final change to make is to focus on sleep, steps, and sunlight. So overall, your body needs to be moving and it needs to be outside. This is how we lived literally since the dawn of time. It's only in the modern era that these things have started to change, and it's no wonder that people are so sick and so overweight now. We are meant to be outside, breathing fresh air, getting sunlight. These things help you immensely. It's gonna make your metabolism better. It's gonna make your hormones better. It's gonna make your sleep quality better. And in general, you are not meant to be so sedentary. As an overall baseline, it is really good to be getting anywhere from 8 to 10K steps a day, even more if that just is natural for you to do. But keeping up that good activity is going to be so important for you to be less inflamed, less stressed, and again, to already start to see changes leaning out and toning up without having to just slash your calories. You want to be nourishing your body with lots of good quality food, but also giving it what it needs beyond just the food, which is fresh air, sunlight, and good quality sleep. If you're going and spending time outside and then minimizing light exposure in the evening after the sun is set, this is going to help you to be able to sleep way better and keep a really good quality sleep schedule. That's going to make a big difference to your hormones and the overall functioning of your body, keeping inflammation lower and helping you look way more lean and toned. All right, fam. So those are the steps of what I have learned over the last decade of this fitness journey that got me from this to this, finally having my dream body, 30 pounds down, lean, toned, fit, and strong every single day year round, and doing the same for so many other women. Now, I know that this was a lot of information, and honestly, it is quite a lot to put all the details together. It is difficult to know how to guide yourself through every single step and how to apply it for your body, your goals, your lifestyle, and preferences. So that's exactly what we do inside of our one-to-one coaching program. We give you everything you need, exactly what to be doing with your workouts, with your food, reviewing all the details every single week, making custom adjustments to your plan so that over time you're adding more muscle, you're losing more body fat, and you're getting that lean, sexy toned body you've always wanted. So if you're ready to not have to guess and wonder if you're doing things right on your own, you just want to be told what to do, have your hand held, guided through the process, held accountable, and supported every step of the way, that's what we do inside of our program. So click on the link in the description, fill out an application. I'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit to work with us one-to-one. All right, fam, thank you so much for checking out this video. Now next, I want you to go watch this one here, where I'm gonna break down what it looks like to reverse diet and cut, how to guide yourself through this whole thing so that you can lose 20 to 25 pounds, build that sexy muscle tone, and maintain this year round for life with ease. So I'll see you in that video.